start from the general beginning again. The purpose of this stream slash podcast slash whatever the frick it is homebrew based and with a secondary uh, motivation of creating a new setting. But all this stuff will be usable for 5e or 5e. It'll be usable for
Yeah.
5e. We actually already did this first episode, but I'm a moron and screwed up the audio. So we're going to do two today. We're going to redo Gnolls, one of my favorites. And then we are going to do an original, which you'll have to stick around to see what that is. I'm Joey. This is...
Hey, I'm Clove.
This is Clove. And boom, we're doing Gnolls. So to start, Clove, what do you think about Gnolls, Clove?
They're pretty cool. For the most part, I, as a DM, haven't really used them because my experience with them has been kind of fodder and just kind of like low level. They'll die quickly, and I'm not a super fan of those. So I'm glad that we get to change that perspective for sure.
Yeah, I think they definitely have a kind of the vibe of a horde. You know, a pack of gnolls is like a good bunch of beasts that'll kind of run around, kind of brainless type beast. I think that's normally what that seems to be the first instinct for people when they get used for things, even in the fiction and things like that. I'm a big fan of Gnolls, as you know. Me and Clove, of course, are in two campaigns together. One that he DMs, one that he gets stuck with me following him around all the time. And I'm a huge Gnoll fan. And I like to play as a Gnoll. And the first game we did together, I actually played as a Gnoll that I homebrewed myself. So we are going to homebrew up a few playable versions of the Gnolls. We're going to go into the lore a little bit. And when we're done, we'll have some sheets that, if you're interested, you can use them or throw them in the garbage or, whatever you want to do. So, right off the bat, lore-wise, so the Gnolls, obviously there's story variations over the different editions. I don't think the first version of Gnolls were even hyenas, but I think it was 3 where they started taking on the hyena form, and that's the one that really clicked. And now I think that's the format that everybody sort of knows the Gnolls. And I think the main origin story for these guys is the demon lord Yanagu kind of crashed to Earth. And one version I heard was that when he crashed, he was injured, and his blood kind of spilled across the land, and the hyenas ate it, and he turned them into his minions. Another was that he just rampaged across the earth, and the hyenas fed on the people that he slaughtered, and then they kind of deformed into the hyena monster Gnolls that we have now. I like that version. I know a lot of people now, especially Critical Role, things like that. People play as Gnolls. People love Gnolls. Like, I get it. All the animal creatures, everybody's at least 15% of furry, so they dig the Gnolls. And some people, I hear people like, I don't like the Yanagu thing. I think the Yanagu thing is great. Even if you want to play a good guy Gnoll, I think it's cooler if you kind of broke from the thrall of Yanagu. And now you're gonna, now you're kind of on your own. You're kind of caught between two worlds because I think the sentient races don't want a damn thing to do with you because, your family kind of has a shitty, patchy history. And other Gnolls want to butcher you because you're, more or less a blasphemer or, anti the religion. Even though from the majority, I think, of the Gnolls under Yanagu aren't big thinkers. It seems they're mostly motivated by a bloodlust, and the motivation is slaughter. It seems like, and I'm pretty sure that's one of Yanagu's names is the god of slaughter. So that's kind of cool because it's kind of similar to the way fast zombies. think of it as fast zombies. They're just a monster race that wants to come and just butcher everything and eat everything, and that's scary because big toothed animals are scary.
Yeah, but it's also fun to play that and also give them humanity. We don't have to take away their origin.
Yeah,
We don't have to take away the fact that they are crazy scary monsters and oh no, now they're not because this one can talk, so they're all different. No, just give it a reason.
yeah, that's the beauty of the game we're playing here. I mean, do whatever
Yeah.
you want. Like, I don't care if you use Yanagu or not. I'm saying for me, and for this setting we're working on, we're gonna do a thing with Yanagu, and but that doesn't affect the stat sheet we're gonna put together.
Yeah.
So I think we're gonna do. I think we're gonna do. Was it 3 versions? I think we did.
Yeah, so we had just kind of regular Gnolls, standard Gnolls, Berserker Gnolls, and the free Gnolls.
The free Gnolls, right? I think my original homebrew I called it Free Strider. It was Free Strider Gnolls, and the original one I think I sent you guys the story. The original story was there was a that I wrote that we may or may not use. Blah blah blah. Noel was kind of messed up in a battle of some kind, and he crawled away and found himself in a sort of enchanted kind of, and I forgot the word last time too. Not a creek, not an oasis. What do you call them? Those little bubbling where the water comes up from the ground.
Geyser?
Not
I think that was
and you said geyser last time. It's not. So if a geyser is a 10 energy level, the energy level is down below. It's
like a spring?
a
Is it
spring,
Yeah.
an enchanted phase spring, and he kind of fell into that water there, and the taint of Yanagu was off of him, and he was visited by Mialiki, who still considers hyenas, part of the animal kingdom and falling under her purview, and that was how he freed himself. That's just one of a gajillion things you can
Yeah.
do, but that's what we leaned towards, and that's what I liked. So, do what you want, but that's what we did for the Free Strider. What did we do for the? Do you want to do the Free Strider first, or do you want to go to the scary guys first?
Let's get all the lore stuff. So, like, why the Berserker Gnolls are different, and then we can get into the stats and stuff.
Okay, so the evil Gnolls are bloodthirsty. They want to kill for Yanagu, and that's basically it. They're not big planners. They're usually led by like a priest or a kind of smarter bad guy. It says in some of the books that their war bands will kind of team up with other war bands on a specific mission, like just for the killing. Like that famous picture of the guy at the riot who says, "I don't believe in anything. I'm just here for the violence."
Yeah.
That's the Gnolls in a nutshell. Like if they see a bunch of orcs and stuff going to take on, some kind of city, they're like, "Hey, we could just tag along and kind of murder some fools. That'd be fun for do it for the big Y." So in our setting, do you want me to go into that now? Should I go into it? Might as well.
Yeah, sure.
So in our setting, Yanagu is not a male; is a female deity. She's still the goddess of slaughter. She has her own plane, similarly, and she mostly resides in well, not mostly resides, but instead of a throne, she is a carved stone bathtub, kind of ornamental sort of tub. And there are 6 carved hyena heads at all the points. And anytime one of her worshippers kills someone on the material plane and the blood hits the ground, it pours through the mouths of those and fills the tub, and that blood strengthens her plane and her strength. She has 3 sort of wraiths that speak for her. They're hyena skulls with just kind of like a red, like a cape sort of that falls straight down. It almost looks like there's nothing underneath it. kind of just like a floating skull with kind of like a red cape hanging underneath until their arms come out and you're just kind of just a skeletal hand. Very creepy. Yanagu has a female's body. She has 4 arms. She's covered in fur similar to a hyena, and she has a massive hyena skull that she wears over her head, and it covers. It looks oversized, and blood also pours down from inside the skull and down her body constantly. It's constant. She's known as the bleeding goddess. You know, she who bleeds, the goddess of slaughter. She's a very Lady Bathory type vibe. And in this story, there's another, is kind of linked to another god. It's Malar, Malar the Beast Lord. I got to go into it a little bit for this story because it adds to her origin. But basically, Malar is an eco-terrorist. He hates the sentient races. He loves animals. He's the god of evil lycanthropy. His favorite thing to do is turn people into lycanthropes and have them kill each other. He just wants all the humans and elves and anything smarter than a bear to die. He was there when a pantheon of other demons tried to murder Yanagu. She crashed to Earth and went on a rampage and started killing people. Just that's what she does. And he fell in love. Not like any kind of simple love. He fell crazy in love. And when she fell in the battle, he presented her with that. He went to her while she was falling and gave her the skull. And as this happened, the hyenas were lapping up her blood from her wounds, and they turned into the Gnolls. And she controls the Gnolls through that sort of skull crown. And that was a gift from Malar, the Beast Lord, to her. And now they kind of have, natural born killers, true romance, 2 psychopaths in love type relationship. But that's Yanagu. And all she cares about is just savage, rage-filled murder. She would be the goddess for suicide bombers. That would be her thing. Like if someone walked to a big place and just blew it up and killed his men. And that's the thing. She's definitely evil, but she doesn't care what your end result is. If you're in two barbarian tribes and the whole tribe gets wiped out and there's one dude left and he's like, I want revenge. I just want to kill all of them and save my people. She will give you the power to kill those people if she thinks you're just going to kill. Like if she thinks you're going to murder people, she doesn't care the reason. She doesn't care the motivation. And I think, Cliff, we talked about this later, but you could be a good guy, pray to Yanagu and get that juice, and you technically you're a paladin of Yanagu, but a cool story might be if someone who's a paladin of Yanagu but just not telling the rest of the party like where he's getting his oomph from, because she doesn't care about your folder, she doesn't care about your file, she wants results. She says she wants your numbers at the end of them. She wants to see those receipts, and if you murk a lot of people, she's all about it.
Yeah, I mean, Yanagu would be a great deity for anybody who's doing like the Oath of Vengeance, Oath of Redemption, Oath of Conquest. Like all of those would be great to have Yanagu as your deity.
Right, and I think a cool little flavor might be is if you are a paladin of Yanagu, and you say, okay, here's 2 plans. We can blow up the bridge with the entire army on it, or we can go assassinate the general the night before and that'll stop the thing. If you go along with the party to just assassinate the general, she'll pull your card. Like she'll have those 2 people watching you. Like if you choose the less violent path, she's not having it. And she'll not only that, she'll send her other Gnolls to murk you. I think that's in our version of Yanagu. That's her steez. That's what she's all about.
Yeah, very vengeful, very follow my ways. Yeah.
I think you have to play up the red eyes. I think it goes with the blood. Like they smell blood. They want it. They want to kill every goddamn thing they can. And I think that's how That's how I handle her for this one, and I think it's fun. I think there's a lot of it's very simple, but there's a lot of ways to go with it that I think are pretty cool. I think we said a necromancer. Like a necromancer, like he can pray to Yanagu, get a bunch of power, kill a whole ton of people because he wants to raise those dead for his army. But as long as he
Yeah,
uses that army to kill more people, Yanagu's like, hey, make that bread, son. Let's go.
yeah.
And that's just a bunch of stuff that you can do.
So do you want to get into the numbers now?
Yeah, let's do the numbers. You know, my favorite
Okay.
part, the thinking.
So we have the 3 different sub races: free Gnolls, berserker Gnolls, and regular Gnolls.
We should do Flynn's also.
I don't know what those are, so
We talk about it's the like the pack leader. They're like 1 in every 20 Gnolls is a big Gnoll. Like
gotcha.
he's kind of like the leader. But that's later. We'll do that later.
Gotcha. So for the regular Gnolls, well, all 3 of them across the board get a +2 to strength. It makes sense for them being like hyena lichens. Hyenas have like the strongest bite of any land mammal.
Right, we said that last time. The was it per square inch? They like
Yeah.
eat bones and things.
Yeah, and so that'll play into you using your bite attack on bonus actions and stuff. For the free Gnolls, we gave them a +1 to wisdom, so that'll help with proficiency, tracking down food.
Life on the run.
Yep. Just kind of being aware of your surroundings and having that kind of animalistic fear. For the regular Gnolls, we gave them +1 to Dex. Just animalistic body lends themselves to being more dexterous, quicker, being able to jump a little bit higher than humanoids. And for the berserkers, we gave them a +1 to con, pretty standard, and a -1 to intelligence.
I remember them.
Yeah, just because the kind of bloodlust and rage that runs through them, even if you're going to roll really nice, it's going to take a hit to your intelligence no matter what.
Right.
It's just kind of the nature of how their bloodlust affects their body, their physique.
Right. I think that makes a lot of sense, because they're eating dead things. They're not cleanly at all.
Yeah.
So the
And
poisons
so
and stuff might be a little.
Yeah, so to get into that, we have the basic racial feats. 30-foot movement makes sense. Pretty standard. I don't think they're not faster than a tabaxi, so they're not going to get extra movement speed. Their bite attack can impose grapple condition.
That's right.
Going to be
that was one of the things that we kind of did that kind of quickly while we were talking. Like, that's a good idea. I've been thinking about it after. I'm like, I love that. Like a grapple condition bite, because they have that like what everyone thinks a pit bull can do with their jaws. Hyenas can actually do that. It's not a myth. Like they crush bone to eat the marrow inside and eat bone. They can digest.
Yeah.
Look up hyenas.
They're scary. So that'll be a grapple check. Your strength versus their whichever skill they choose. Because they're scavengers, they've got immunity to disease. They just can eat whatever and stomach it. Okay, so they have immunity to that, so we're giving them that. And we gave them advantage on intimidation because they're scary, frothy mouthed hyenas. And disadvantage on persuasion checks because they're scary, frothy mouthed hyena heads.
Yeah, and they're the boogeyman. Everyone, like any civilization that's not directly in a huge city with a huge wall around it, is scared of gnolls. Like any small town, like the worst thing that can happen is like a dragon, or a horde of gnolls. Like, this is how you get kids to go to bed early and eat their vegetables. The gnolls will come and get you. So there's no you're the nicest gnoll on the planet, and your party might love you. But if you walk into a town unescorted, they're gonna shoot first and ask questions later.
For sure.
Good guy, bad guy. So I think that's a fun thing. You might have to Chewbacca into a bunch of cities. You might have to walk in the fake shackles until you get to a hotel room and you can kind of like, all right, Spike, take the shackles off, you big freak. We love you.
So for whatever reason, Gnolls have picked up the kind of stigma that they are archers. Uh, s- Go ahead.
But we talked about that last time. I think
Yeah,
for whatever reason, when you
yeah,
like and look at the minis and the stories, there's always a creepy ass Gnoll archer. I don't know how it started. There's no rational connection between Hyena Man,
nope.
Bloodthirsty Monster, and like archery seems the last thing. But it just seems like a thing that's just kind of repeated
Yeah.
itself. And I love it.
And
So I'm
so,
here for it. I'm like, great, no
yeah.
archers.
So because of that, we gave them proficiency just in longbows and in martial weapons, because they're growing up. Like pretty much, if you're in the Knoll Society, you're fighting from day one. So you're growing up with a weapon in hand. So it's not going to be out of the wheelhouse to have held a pike or a glaive or something. And especially since Knolls are 7-ish feet tall at the bare minimum, getting up a couple inches taller than that, those bigger weapons aren't going to be too uncommon to them.
Right.
They have natural weapons in the form of claws, which are going to do a d6 piercing damage. They have a bite, which is going to impose that grappled condition. It's going to do a d4 of piercing and a d4 of necrotic damage.
That's right.
Um,
That was another thing that I thought we did that I like the just like you get like a bacterial infection from getting bit by them because their
yeah,
mouths are dirty and they're probably all a little bit sick with mange and things.
Yeah, so if you get bit by one of these gnolls, after your next long rest, when you wake up, you make a DC 13 Constitution saving throw. And if you fail it, you have your hit point maximum reduced by a D4.
Love it.
So it's not too big, but it's enough that it'll make a difference at the early stages pretty noticeably. But when you're level 20, getting bit by a gnoll and having that poison shouldn't be that big of a deal.
Right.
So it's not going to be that big of a deal.
Right.
We gave them a racial feature called Trash Eater. They can discern what food is edible and or poisoned. They are scavengers, so they don't care particularly whether the food is edible and or poisoned.
But they
But
can
if they're
tell
hanging
you.
out with a bunch, yeah, but if they're hanging out with a bunch of people who do care, they can tell you because they've been around it.
Right.
And then we have Can't Stop, Won't Stop.
That's my baby. That's my
Yeah.
baby.
So this is when you kill a creature with a melee attack, you have to take an extra attack at a creature within 5 feet of you.
Yeah, and this goes back to the bloodthirst, the blind rage, the blood drunk craziness of the hyenas. That once they kill, like we're not gonna let you do it with a spell, but if you're down there like a barbarian or a fighter class, and you kill something, you automatically get a bonus attack, but they have to be within 5 feet of you. And Clove, if you kill them with that bonus attack, what happens? Tell him.
You get another one.
You get another one, and you can just keep going. Now,
Yeah.
tell him.
So it's worded in a way that it's not using your bonus action. You just have to take an extra attack. So if you kill something, you have to take that attack. If there's nothing around you, you'll swing at nothing, you'll miss, that's fine. But if there's an enemy next to you, you'll hit them. If you kill that enemy and your friend is next to you, then you have to take that extra attack. So you're going to hit your friend, or you're going to at least swing at them.
Right.
It might miss, but the attack's at least going to go off.
Right.
So it is a balanced kind of play. Like it allows for this character to feel unstoppable, to chain. It in the grand scheme of things, you can get like 7 extra attacks. That's never going to happen. You
It's
might get
never.
one. You might get 1 or 2 at the most, but it adds that kind of unstoppable monster fear that Knolls have been accustomed to.
Yeah, I think it's great. It's great for story. I think at lower levels, because let's face it, if you're playing this null and you can chain 4 or 5 murders, your DM sucks. Okay, because if
Yeah.
you present him with your sheet, your DM is going to go, okay, well, I know, I'm going to send some guys at him, but I'm not going to surround him with dudes. At lower
Yeah.
levels you might get lucky. At lower levels you might get lucky and get a few, but as you get higher up there, you're never going to be surrounded by enemies. And if you are, it's going to be kobolds or something that anyone could have. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, I mean, realistically, even at 20th level, like your weapon attack should be doing like a D12 at most, +5, plus your proficiency. So if you're getting these creatures within like 20 or so hit points of death, all lining them up perfectly, as a person who has been DMing for a couple years, dude, you did the work. You get it. Absolutely go for it. Like
Yeah,
if you
like
can make all of that stuff happen, it's all yours. I'm not gonna stop you from that.
I would if I was DMing, I would appreciate like if a team was like, listen, we're gonna send Slash in there. We're gonna kind of herd everyone in that general direction, or you could do we're gonna drop him down a pit and we're gonna like push attack everyone into the pit with him. You know, we're gonna get him Armor of Agathis, or we'll get him, what is it, Bark Skin or something. Like we're gonna juice him up. We're gonna dump these bad guys and just let him go ape shit. If you plan that out, you deserve that shit. Like you've earned
Yeah,
it. Like that's to me, I'd be flattered that that happened in my game. Like that's cool.
yeah.
But again, it's not likely to ever get out of hand.
There are definitely a couple ways that I could see this being abused, but it's with like very specific classes and stuff.
Right.
So unless you're taking like if you're taking Rune Knight, you get to go size larger, which is 4 squares. So that opens up your possibilities. But I mean, if you're doing that, then you're a giant hyena dog. That's cool as shit. You should be taking more attacks, dude. That's cool.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So
Your Attack on Titan hyena
yeah.
dog. Go.
I see. I didn't even think about Rune Knight. I'm like, man. So yeah, you could turn to a giant. That's pretty hard.
Yeah.
But again, any DM worth his druthers is gonna take that into consideration, and and again, like so, if you have a high, yeah, if you have a Null Rune Knight, and I'm a DM, and I know one of the players is a Null Rune Knight, I'm like, guess what? All your battles are in tunnels now, and it's 10 feet wide, and that's all you
Yep.
got, and
And 2/3 of the people you're fighting are all archers, and they're all spread out.
yeah,
And
welcome to Range
sorry.
Town, yeah.
Yeah.
uh, yeah, I love it. I think it's cool. I was pretty
Yeah.
happy with it. Um, what else we got?
And then the last thing for basic racial features were their languages. So we gave them common, and they have their own like Gnoll language. Consists of like grunts, snarls, laughs, hisses, clicks, all of the kind of weird noises that you hear big cats make. Um, and due to the way that they were created and the way that they are usually used, they're able to understand Abyssal, but they cannot speak it.
Yeah, I think uh, I think if uh, if you wanted to have a situation where Yanagu or one of Yanagu's hands wanted to speak through your Knoll in Abyssal, that might be cool, or even if the Knoll language had a word here and there that was Abyssal, like kind of filtered through the kind of reptile brain, they're hyenas, through the dumb hyena brain.
Yeah.
It's cool stuff. Um, I think a lot of the Knoll language itself would be implied and understood, almost not telepathic, but a lot of it is on vibe. And if you're a Knoll and another Knoll comes up and he's nipping at you and barking and laughing, you know more or less what he's trying to get across. But there is a definite semblance of the beginning of a language there.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I mean, that's how cheetahs communicate. They don't actually have like, they don't roar. They don't like meow as much. Like they mostly communicate through like clicks, hisses, and purrs.
yeah,
And that's mostly how those cats talk to each other is through that. Well, most other cats kind of meow and roar.
yeah.
They've created their own little thing.
And hyenas kind of they make like almost monkey noises too. They kind of like hoot a little bit, like the way a dog will
Yeah.
hoot sometimes. But yeah, there's your Gnoll language. So like if you do have a good guy Gnoll or whatever, or you have a Gnoll that's not good, but you come across a Gnoll band, you can have your guy sneak in, sneak in and see what they're saying.
Yeah.
Try to pick up the gist of the plan, and that would work. Or like maybe the Gnoll teaches your party how to speak Gnoll. If you guys are out and about speaking Gnoll, no one knows what the hell you're saying unless there's another Gnoll. So like
Yeah.
that's like that might be a cool bit of flavor if your DM's like, okay, your Gnoll takes 2 days to teach the other Gnolls more or less Gnoll, and now you have a language that no one understands when you're in
Yeah.
most situations. So it's something to consider.
And Gnolls are smart enough that, we had talked about yesterday, like the story concept of a Gnoll being found by a village and being used by the village. It makes total sense. Like if that's like a dwarven outpost or something, it makes total sense for the Gnoll to be able to speak dwarven because they have the capacity for that language. They
Yeah,
grew up in it. They're gonna learn it. So
yeah,
they're not stuck to these languages. Like they can definitely learn others. Just give it a reason, explaining your backstory.
yeah. I don't think Gnolls are as stupid as they come across. I think in most situations Gnolls are portrayed. They're in the bloodlust. They're in the
Yeah.
rage stuff. So they're not fully in charge of their
Yeah,
capacities.
we haven't had too many drawbacks of the curtain of Knoll society.
No,
So
yeah. God, I want to play a Gnoll now. I miss my Gnoll. I remember the last Gnoll we played, and he was just simping on all the ladies at that sauna.
I forgot about that.
What a fun game that was.
That was, yeah.
I can't wait. So we're gonna write these sheets up, by the way, and when we have everything
Yeah.
up on the YouTubes and things, we'll find a way to get it so that you guys can get it, and we'll put it on some nice artwork with some nice things to look at, make it look professional, so you're not embarrassed when you're sliding it across the table to your DM and go, can I be this man, please? Um, so we did the Free Striders, the Berserker, and just this Savage Gnoll.
Yeah.
Um, so for me, if I was playing the Free Strider Gnoll with the Wisdom stuff, I would want it so with perception and investigations that this is like your sort of like your Bloodhound. This is your Wolverine in the group. You know what I mean? So if there's a Gnoll there and you fought undead before, and now you're in a room where there's a necromancer, I would say, and you do a perception check. This smells familiar. It smells undead. And depending how you roll, the smell reminds you of that encounter you were in a little while ago. Or this guy's from the south. Like when you guys came in through the docks that time, it reminds you of that smell. Like I would play up this is like having a sentient bloodhound, more or
Yeah.
less, for a bloodhound, like literally a bloodhound. Like you know what I'm saying? I think especially for blood and body stuff, like these are hunters that want to find blood and spill it and kill it. I think
Yeah.
that's something I'd love for flavor in the perception investigation stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, and taking the observant feat on any Knoll really makes sense. Not being able to be surprised. It makes sense if they're being surrounded and your Knoll hears one little twig snap that shouldn't snap, that your Knoll immediately knows what's going on.
I agree, and I think like we were saying earlier, that if you are a good Gnoll, if you are a free strider, you're hated by almost everyone, and then you're also hated and actively hunted by the Gnolls still with Yanagu. Like, and I know I would play it that if a Gnoll comes up to you, they know immediately that you're not under Yanagu, and Yanagu might even look down and go, look, he's a weakling. He left. He's broken. Kill him. We don't. She doesn't want there to be a doorway for her army to get out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they'd be able to tell just by looking at him, like just by catching his eyes, that he doesn't have the same glare as them.
Yeah, that he's taken a bath in the last month. Like, um,
Smells like people now.
yeah, he's got the people smell. Um, so okay, so we have our berserker, we have our savage, we have our free strider. So now Flynn's, which, and again, I think I said I hate that word, the FLIND. It
Yeah.
should not be a word. I hate it. Flynn is basically the strongest of the warband. Let me actually, I think I have this stuff right here. So the strongest gnoll in the warband actually can get to 10 or 11 feet, and they're like the boss. They're like the boss level of the group. And so the Flint is, it says I love the medium small system because it makes no sense. So like it says Flint armor class 16, hit points 127, speed is still 30. The speed should be higher. Um, a Gnoll warband might include one or more of these special kind of Gnolls. A Flind is an exceptionally strong and vicious Gnoll that commands and directs the warband of it. It wields a flail imbued with the powerful magic by Yanagu himself. Our Yanagu is a chick because we're very progressive. A warband can only have one Flind, and that creature sets a warband's path. It doesn't say here, but I've definitely heard that there is a clear difference in height. Like they stand head and shoulders above regular gnolls. And if another gnoll gets strong enough to kill the Flind, I don't know if this is official. I want to say it is. They become the Flind. Like just the act of killing the Flind makes them stronger and bigger into the new Flind. So the Flind has their saving throws are Constitution +8, Wisdom +5. Their skills are Intimidate and Perception. Dark Vision, duh. Passive Perception is 15. A challenge rating of 9. They have the Aura of Bloodthirst. If the Flind isn't incapacitated, any creature with the Rampage trait can make a bite attack as a bonus action while within 10 feet of the Flind. Multi-attack. The Flind makes 3 attacks, one with each of its different flail attacks or 3 of its longbow. There's that longbow.
Yeah.
Flail of Madness. Melee weapon, 9 to hit, reach 5 feet, 1 target, bludgeoning damage, yada yada. Flail of Pain. Flail of Paralysis.
That sounds almost like a better subclass for Gnolls, like a Gnoll specific subclass,
Right.
than it does for a sub race. Like I really think we could spec out like a fighter subclass or like a ranger or something to fit Flind and just have that be, you could be a free Gnoll, berserker, or a regular Gnoll and achieve the level of being a Flind.
Yeah, see, I think what we should do in our setting is race specific classes. So
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? Not and so like if you're a Gnoll and you get to level whatever, we say, okay, well you have the opportunity to get some Flind traits, and if you do it, you get bigger, and that's going to take something away, but you're also gigantic now, and things like that. I like that idea. I like the idea of Flind as a racial specific subclass of.
Yeah, so we'll definitely have to come back to that and do its own thing.
Or even as we were saying, anyone can become a worshiper of Yanagu. Like what if you're like a barbarian or a Goliath, and you like shoot up the ranks of Gnoll culture and you become a Flind, but you're a Gnoll. Like you're not a Gnoll, you're a Goliath. Like you just see this horde of hyenas, and then you see this wacky ass Goliath who's just wearing like maybe a hyena skin, and his face is painted to look like a Gnoll but he's made his way in the tribe, and he's got that special, he got the promotion.
Yeah, and because of that, he gets a little bit taller, gets a little bit buffer.
Yeah.
Takes on some hyena teeth.
Yes.
Face stretches out a little bit.
Yes. I love that. Okay, cool. I dig that. Yeah, so maybe it's if you worship Yanagu, you're also available to that. We got to come back to that when we do
Yeah, we definitely will.
when we do our Yanagu version specific episode, and I'm sure we're going to do other gods because I've got like 10. We
Yeah.
can do classes for each one of those. So there's our Flynn. What do you think?
Yeah, I gave all the Gnolls dark vision out at 60 feet because I forgot about that.
Here's another thing that I wanted to talk to you about, and it's not Knoll specific. So I had an idea. Um, so in the setting, I like dark vision. I think dark vision is cool, but dark vision to me should be there's a little bit of light. It's kind of dark. There should be dark vision and black vision, and black vision should be almost like infrared, and like Drow would have black vision, or like some
Yeah.
dwarves or dwergers, some of them would have black vision, because when you're down in the Underdark, they're not, you know what I'm saying? Like it's like if you go out in the city and it's dark and there's only a street light 2 blocks away, it's not pitch black, but it's pretty
Yeah.
dark. And then you can have, I think that's something we should think about in our setting is dark vision and black
Yeah.
vision, because everyone has dark vision is corny,
Yeah.
and then you can
Dark
have
vision.
and then there could be
Yeah.
like magical things that give you full color black vision, like you see in complete blackness as you would in daylight. But
Yeah.
black vision for animals should be kind of like predator, like
Yeah.
Gnolls see your circulatory system. Like if it's all black, they see the blood flowing through you, kind of, like that.
Yeah.
But they'll like trip over a stone that they don't see to get to you, or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. That makes sense. We can work on that for sure.
Yeah, I dig that a lot.
Yeah.
And we got our Gnolls. We got our good guy Gnolls. We started with the Flint. We're gonna come back to that with a subclass. Yanagu. The other stuff with the Yanagu we talked about was vampires. Remember, I think we said a vampire might, like, let's say a vampire was about to be slain. At the last minute, Yanagu can sweep in there and go, hey, and recruit her. Because a vampire that goes out and a portion of the blood that the vampire drinks or kills gets kicked upstairs to Mama Yanagu, that's cool, because that kind of works, like, because you got the vampire, you got the blood rage, and vampires always kind of like laying back a little bit. They got these big plans, and like you have a vampire arms dealer who's arming both sides and trying to instigate a war. It doesn't care who wins as long as people get butchered. And and then on the side he's killing homeless people or whatever it is he does in the alleyway. Classic vampire nonsense.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of fertile land for Yanagu vampires. It makes it just
Well, yeah, and it'd be cool to take that vampire and strip them of their ability to plan and their ability to think that far ahead.
Yeah, like
and
going into a
just
blood.
like
Yeah. Like have a
yeah, and just
really-
like any time that they really try to sit down, it's fuck, I'm still hungry, because every time they eat, part of their food goes away and they can never really be full.
Yeah, like you have the classic, really conniving, manipulative. Like the vampires are like a few hundred years old. They've seen it all. They're really smart. But then they get a little bit of that blood, or they smell it a little bit, and they start to get like, like a meth head. They start like scratching. They're like, oh man, I gotta get that blood, And I think Clove froze. He froze, but he'll come back. Vampires are awesome for Yanagu. I think we talked a little bit about Clove. I don't know if you could hear me. I'm going to send you the link in the Discord again. Necromancer for sure. There he is. Where is he? One new message. Sorry, guys. This is the okay, so we're gonna send him again. Invite, copy, invite link. There you go. I sent it to him. The necromancers would love it. You know, it's kind of more of a trade-off between the two, where everything they kill becomes. Here he is. Here's my buddy. He's back.
Oh, so stupid.
Yeah, it happens. What are you gonna do? But so the vampires, necromancers are great. Barbarians, great thralls of Yanagu. Like just like they always had the berserker rage, and if like their entire tribe gets wiped out, Yanagu would give them a little blessing. Paladins of Yanagu, like just people who want power, who need power, even good people at their lowest point. The only god that shows up is Yanagu and says, "Listen, I'll give you the juice to, you know, kill the king who fired your dad, or whatever led to your nightmare."
Yeah.
And you don't love Yinagu, but he's offering you dental, he's offering you the 401k. It's a great deal, super strength, maybe crazy teeth. It's just good stuff for flavor and story, and I dig it
Yeah.
a lot. And I think there's a ton of stuff there, and I just love playing. The Clove will tell you, I love playing the monsters, bugbears, gnolls, any monster. I like to play the monster. I'm not a big regular elves and half elves, yada yada. Not really my steez, but
No.
Gnolls might be my. I have a new love for bugbears now because I've been playing one, but Gnolls. I think Gnolls will always be my numero uno. Um, so I think we hit everything.
Yeah, I think so.
I think you got everything we wanted to talk about. So, like I said, we're going to put sheets together for all this. We'll make it available by the time this goes up on the YouTube and everything else. It will be available, and I'll record a bumper for this with all the links, or I'll make Clove do it. One of us will do. You'll hear the dulcet tones of one of us telling you with all the great info you need. And so anyone who's in the Twitch stream right now, we're going to come back in a few minutes to do another episode. I'm not going to say what it is, but you'll find out. I think it's also cool. But thank you for listening, watching. Clove, anything you want to plug?
No, we'll be right back with another episode.
All right. We will see you shortly.